In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So this is from John's Gospel, and this is towards the end of what Jesus says to his disciples. He says, "And now I am no longer in the world, but they are in the world," the disciples, "and I am coming to you, Holy Father. Protect them in your name that you have given me, so that they may be one as we are one." So there is an awful lot in what Jesus says today in John's Gospel, but I'm going to focus on one aspect, and that one aspect is in fact oneness. And Jesus says to the disciples, "So that they may be one as we are one." So I want to start by taking you to my house at this moment. I want you to imagine my kitchen, and I want you to imagine chaos in my house. Toys, pasta, coins, books, socks, flutes, cushions, DVDs. I'm literally treading DVDs underfoot. Bits of art, drawings, calculators, staplers. You get the picture. Chaos. A lot of our lives at the moment are we're living at home, and for me, I'm looking around at chaos and having to clear it up. Let's go to our minds now. Chaos. One thought chasing another thought. Emotions, regrets, worries, fantasies. Did I do that? Should I do this? What are we going to do when this emergency ends? It can be a full-time job having a mind. So there's a link, I think, between my kitchen, remember that list of things, and my mind, remember that list of things. So what am I saying? We live chaotic and divided lives. So a huge big warning before I go on. That chaotic house I describe, my house, but it may be your house. And that chaotic mind I describe, my mind, but it may be your mind. Yes, I get it. There is a creativity. There is a freedom in mess. And so I'm not saying we've all got to become very boring, tidy everything up, and have a really horrible time. But I am saying most of the time we are divided. Now Jesus says, "Let be one as I and the Father am one, so that you may be one as we are one," is what he says. And it's coming out of the fact that Jesus was one with God. It's one of the strange realities. His heart, his consciousness was at one with the Father. And his words rise up out of complete union with the divine. They don't come up out of human confusion. What am I going to eat today? I'm so frightened. I'm so worried. They come up out of that deep oneness with God. And you can hear it in what he says. All these words and stories that have come to us in the Gospels, they all travel, and yet it is simply this undivided consciousness, this undivided heart talking to us, so that you may be one as we are one. Let's go back to our chaotic minds. Just a few days ago on the news, I heard about levels of mental health problems and how mental health problems were rising, of course, because of this current situation. And the report said, our minds are racing. Well, yes, our minds may be racing, but they don't have to be, because we are Jesus' disciples. And what does that mean? That means that our hearts and our minds can become one with God through Christ. So let's be practical. Prayer is a door into this oneness that Jesus describes, this union. So let's leave the chaotic kitchen. Let's leave the chaotic mind and come to stillness. Stillness here in this church. And let's become aware of where we are. So I'm here in St. Catherine's and you're watching, but we are united by a stillness, a quiet. Maybe you're aware of your thoughts tripping over each other. Okay, let the thoughts trip over each other, but just sort of look through the thoughts to this greater peace that's surrounding us. Now we're coming into the present moment, God's presence. And maybe in this time of prayer, if you want to extend it after this sermon, maybe into the time of prayer, you might want to silently say a prayer or a prayer word, just to keep your mind still and anchored, so that you're not being drawn off into thinking and thoughts. Just saying a prayer or a prayer word, whatever it is, just to bring you back to this present and this present moment. And this moment of quiet, this silence that we're sharing, we're moving beyond thought into oneness. You can hear the bird there, just chirruping in that silence, that great silence that's enfolding everything. Now, what do I mean? Well, I'm saying that when Jesus says we can be one, that's our personal invitation. And I'm just saying, take that time of stillness and prayer to realise that unity with God in your own lives. Don't have to be running off after each thought. You don't have to be looking at the mess in your house. You can enter that unity and union that Christ has with the Father. That's an invitation for each of us. I spent yesterday in some of that stillness that I described. And afterwards I had quite a long conversation with somebody. And that stillness that I touched in prayer was still there in that conversation. That love, that expansiveness of God. So when Jesus says we can be one, just as I am one with the Father, that's the invitation for each of us. God bless you. It's been wonderful to spend this time with you. Happy Sunday, and I'll see you soon. God bless. Amen.